Mr. President.
The senator is recognized.
Mr. President, are we in a quorum call?
We are.
I would ask that the quorum call be lifted.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, on behalf of Senator Kirk, I send an amendment to the desk to the text proposed to be stricken by amendment number 1463.
The senator from New Hampshire, Ms. Ayotte, for Mr. Kirk, proposes an amendment numbered 1986 to the language proposed to be stricken by amendment numbered 1463.
I would ask unanimous consent that the reading be dispensed with.
Without objection.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today to talk about an important amendment that was offered by Senator Kirk, which I am a co-sponsor of, and that is the reauthorization of the Export-Import Bank. I can tell you that in my home state of New Hampshire, in fact, on Monday, I was at a roundtable at GE Aviation in my state. GE Aviation has over 700 jobs in the state of New Hampshire. They're building a new facility there. The Export-Import Bank provides a company like GE opportunity to obtain financing to export its products that are manufactured in the United States of America and New Hampshire to other countries overseas, so increasing the opportunity for American manufacturing jobs. And at that company on Monday, they invited a lot of their suppliers and small businesses who also have either used XM financing or are suppliers for the larger companies that use XM financing. And in fact, some of the companies that were around the table that have used XM financing in New Hampshire, Boyle Energy in Concord. In fact, Mike Boyle, who is the CEO of Boyle Energy, has been able to use XM financing to grow New Hampshire jobs, and he has a vision for a new plant in Merrimack, New Hampshire, that he's ready to expand. And if he can get this financing, he's going to be selling more of his great products overseas, creating more jobs in New Hampshire. And yet this bank expires at the end of June. This is a very, very important tool for American businesses. And this is one where I wish I had this problem with every program in Washington. The bank actually returns money to the Treasury, and it creates American jobs. The reason that this type of financing is available is because the risk that is often taken exporting products where there aren't commercial loans always available, the XM Bank and its ability to allow financing for our businesses in America is there. And in fact, other countries around the world have programs like this that are much more extensive. So without the XM Bank, there's not a level playing field for our American companies who want to manufacture in the United States of America to be able to have access to this financing that will allow them to create American jobs. Also around that table on Monday at GE Aviation was Goss Manufacturing. They manufacture great printing presses in New Hampshire. We're very proud of them. They've also been able to use XM financing. And if that financing doesn't go through, we heard from Representative of Goss that, in fact, they could lose up to 40 jobs in my home state of New Hampshire. So it's important that we reauthorize this bank. I want to thank the senator from Illinois for offering this amendment to reauthorize the XM Bank so that our companies here in the United States of America can manufacture here, sell to consumers around the world, have access to this financing. And in fact, in New Hampshire, there's been about 36 companies, many of them small companies, that have been able over the last several years to use XM financing to create New Hampshire jobs. So, Mr. President, this is about jobs in the United States of America. This is about competing. We recently had the TPA, Trade Promotion Authority, on this floor to expand opportunities for trade. Well, this goes hand in hand with that, so that our companies have access to this financing to create jobs here and return money to the Treasury. Wish we could say that about every government program, that it turns money to the Treasury. And actually, the default rate for XM is lower than commercial loans. So I'm hopeful, Mr. President, that Senator Kirk's amendment will get a vote on this Senate floor, that we can get this reauthorized before the expiration date at the end of this month. We can continue to allow this financing for American businesses to continue to sell their products, to build them here, to sell them overseas, and to create American jobs. Because that's what this type of financing allows our businesses to do. This is very important when we think about making sure that we remain competitive, that we have more jobs here, and that we continue to sell our great products built here in the United States of America around the world. So, Mr. President, I am very honored to support this amendment. I hope that we will get a vote on this amendment on the defense authorization, or get a vote and make sure that we have this passed before the end of the year, before the end of this month, and this bank expires, so that we can have that continuity in this important financing mechanisms for our businesses here in this country. In addition to some of the businesses that were around the table on Monday, I also want to mention GKN Aerospace from Charleston, who is a smaller business, who had a larger business, but with a smaller footprint in New Hampshire, who's been able to also export and create jobs in New Hampshire and across the country. And in addition to that, you know, we were so glad. I've heard from other businesses in New Hampshire that have been able to rely on this important financing mechanism. So very, very glad to support Senator Kirk's amendment. And with that, I would yield the floor.